Hello everyone, my name is Marcelo. I am a teacher in this channel. In Portuguese is Canal Resenha Forense. In English it would be something like critical law, something like that. Well, I wrote this course, this brief course of philosophy of law. In Portuguese, it's called Pequeno Curso de Filosofia do Direito. And I started to think, well, I should translate it to other students in the world. And I think English it would be the first step. I already started to translate it to Spanish, also to Italian, but these works will take more time, okay? I would like to thank Renan de Oliveira Sousa, the student that accepted to translate my work. I didn't pay his work, okay? Then I would like to, thank him a lot, because it's not a easy work, okay? It's not an easy work. Evidently, my English is not that good, and because of that, we can make here some mistakes. It's completely natural, okay? But when a non-Brazilian guy started to speak Portuguese, we Brazilians appreciate it, okay? So it's absolutely normal to some mistakes here and there. It's really normal, these things. It's not perfect, but we are doing our best, and would like to just that you can understand us, okay? That is the primordial thing, okay? I think with the time, class by class, my English will be better, because I am started to use it again. The last time I used it, I spoke English was in 2014 in a travel to England, when I had an opportunity to speak with professionals from other areas, mainly international law. But since then, I didn't speak in English, and I really would like to sorry it. I'm sure that my English will be failure sometime, but it's okay, okay? If you understand me, that's okay. Let me take 1 cup of coffee, then we will start our course, okay? So, as I warned you, this is a brief course of philosophy of law. It's not a complete course of philosophy of law. And the original version in Portuguese, it's called Pequeno Curso de Filosofia do Direito, okay? So let me put here, in our website, that I will show here in the description of the video, I will put a link that you can find our work in our written work, okay, in PDF version, and of course translated by Renan de Oliveira Sousa. And since now, my words, it's Renan de Oliveira Sousa translation, okay? The course is mine, but the translation to English, from Portuguese to English, comes from Renan de Oliveira Sousa. So just 1 moment, let me find here. Okay, meeting 1, opening words, initial notions and objectives of the course. We have here a brief course of philosophy of law, didactically dismembered in some meetings, okay? The chosen title, brief course, shows it doubles pretension. Number 1, being quantitatively brief, okay? And 2, being qualitatively modest and detached of vanity, okay? The idea here is to bring a general board of gnoseology. I have noticed that a minimal notion of gnoseology can contribute, especially with an educated study in philosophy, and more precisely in philosophy of law. I made this course knowing my littleness and my irrelevance against the already worked works, just to exemplify from the project organizers of Contra os Acadêmicos, a page from Brazil, from Ricardo Roveran, Lázaro Macedo, and Victor Matias. And by the way, I recommend the unrestricted observation of their list of lectures of philosophy of philosophy for beginners, and curious, available in a link that I put it in our written version. Okay, you can find there. Gnoseology. What is gnoseology, Professor Marcelo? Gnoseology means basically the field of the theory of knowledge concerned with the interaction of the cognizant individual from one side with the cognizant object from another. Okay, the priori arrangement given to these poles, it is highly variable. Okay, sorry for my English. Every philosophical school proposes a different distribution of these weights. Okay, it can be said that Immanuel Kant was the philosopher who most thought and externalized the dialectic between the subject and the object. Okay, for this he holds the proposition of the philosopher of the three critics. Three critics. Okay, who searched the assumptions of the reason, with critique of pure reason, of will, critique of practical reason, and of feelings, critique of judgment. And this part of my work was based on a Brazilian philosopher, a Brazilian jurist called Miguel Reale, okay, in a book called Introdução à Filosofia. That would be something like philosophy's introduction, okay? It is Kant who is attribute a Copernic revolution in the theory of knowledge. In another book from Miguel Reale called Filosofia do Direito, or Philosophy of Law, it is said something like this. Just like Copernicus overcomes the Ptolemaic system, changing the orbit elements of our solar system, putting the sun in his center, the German philosopher affirms that it would be necessary to break the traditional gnoseology attitude. Thus, no more conceiving the cognizant individual as a planet who revolves around the object, but Kant proposes that the objects are fully dependent on the primordial and central position in the cognizant individual. In a kind of didactical way to show my idea here, I put it draw in our PDF, okay, that you can see there, with two parts. The first part, in the left, shows a pre-Kantian gnoseological proposal. So there we can see an object in the center and the subject around this object, okay? So the object at its center of knowledge, knowing subject spinning around him in a static way, okay? On the left side, another part of this draw, I show basically a Kantian and modern gnoseological proposal with subject interfying object, okay? So subject knows directly the object. So a knowing subject becomes to center of knowledge, and I mean by knowledge gynosiology as well. So the subject are shaping the object. Okay. Initial notions of our brief course here. This brief course of philosophy of law begins in the next class. The idea of this first meeting is to elucidate some initial words, show objectives, warnings, and explain the development of the program that is going to be followed. First of all, we will study the capital themes of philosophy of law. The three capital themes are: first one, we'll try to answer the question, what is law? What is the law? This effort is fundamental because it corresponds to the problem of the concept of the law. This is the logical problem of the law, an object of special part of the law's philosophy, more connected with the juridical science, named justly legal epistemology or legal gynosiology. Gynosiology, as previously explained, covers the theory of knowledge. Epistemology is the doctrine of science, and episteme comes from Greek, and it means science. Okay. Some philosophers understand that epistemology and gynosiology are synonymous expressions. There is a lot of divergence about this conception, but the line that we will follow is the line that tries to draw a difference. I think that gynosiology is always general, being a theory of knowledge in general, but epistemology, on the other side, would be the detailed study of the scientific knowledge, the peculiarities, the diversity of each science and each object. According to André Lalande, in a book called Vocabulário Técnico e Crítico da Filosofia, or it would be something like technical and critical philosophy's vocabulary, okay? But in this paper, in this book, André Lalande speaks, epistemology is the rational study of principles, hypotheses, and results of sciences destined to determine her logical origin, her value, and her objective importance. Following this, we can affirm, yes, that legal epistemology would be impossible an autonomous theory of juridical knowledge. The philosopher of law can apply his gynosiological conclusions, if not only on the special knowledge of law. I follow here the point of view defended by Miguel Reale, a Brazilian philosopher. And do not feel constrained. I would say that you shouldn't be constrained if you find another authors or philosophers who think differently. It's really, really normal, okay? The philosophy of law. Let me just change one thing here. The philosophy of law holds a very diverse field of personal points of view, because he depends on a certain way of the arrangement of loads a priori between the individual who knows and the object who is known. This brief course here of philosophy of law is not a juridical dogmatic course, not even political legislative course. I'll thought the intersection is needed. Okay, I want to be worry here with specific solutions. So be advised, nothing in the philosophy of law is specific, because of the legal philosophy consists justly on the incessant questioning, unstoppable, constant, permanent, and criticism of the fundamentals and the essence of the legal phenomenon. Because of that, we can say that the first problem to be faced is to define what is the concept of the law. It can look a word for most of my students face after years of formation and also action day by day on the forensic field, that problem of the concept of the law. This shows a deep truth. The graduated students, albeit insensitively, already have seen the philosophy of law, but only to do some particular study. In this brief course, our objective is more extensive, a rational and a deeper examination of what was the assumption of the study on the legal field and what they have faced in criminal law, in constitutional law, in tax law, in procedure law, and another parts of science of law. Okay, this would be then the first aspect of philosophy of law here taken into consideration. A jurist is not a physicist. It's not he is not a mathematician. The last one studies relations, but they do not question the aim of these relations. Okay, so the physics studies constantly relations between facts, searching to learn the logical objective relations of the ontic nature. But he do not concerns himself about the purpose of the nature. Okay, if the physics says that the heat dilates bodies, for example, he do just an affirmation who do not implies that questioning of why. The heat dilates bodies because just it us. Okay. It is. The problem of the purpose escapes the inquiry of the physicist. But can the jurist preserve itself unchangeable in front of social relationships? Can the jurist stop questioning of Can the jurist stop questioning the purpose of the law? Can the jurist appreciate all the positive law without search the meaning for what of this law who was created by the legislator? The major conscientious will say no. The law is not a descriptive science. Is not a science who treats only the quantitative relations, but also treats the qualitative relations of ends, of values, axiology. The second capital theme of philosophy of law is the problem of the foundation of law, okay, of ends, of the purpose of the law. After we study the concept of the law, so the object of the legal epistemology, we have to study the fundamentals of the law. It is the legal axiology, or theory of the juridical values. Many authors are especially concerned with the second capital theme of the philosophy of law. But we can't ignore that the positive law exists. The legislation of a nation, the legislation of another nation, the international legislation, and so on. There is the current and the existent positive law, and the positive law who already has been revoked. For example, here in Brazil, the Brazilian Civil Procedure Rules of 2015 revoked the Brazilian Civil Procedure Rules of 1973. Okay, there is yet what is usually called a juridical propositive legal system, who has developed itself over time, dividing itself in laws and consecrate a diversity of legal sciences. Because of that, there is a third capital theme of our brief course of philosophy of law. What represents the legal system? What is for the history, okay? What is in the face of science of law? These kinds of preoccupation, launching universal requirements of justice before the positive law, is the heart of this 30 front, okay? It is an additional part being designated or named as legal phenomenology. So, until the end, of course, you will have a broad vision in big traces of three big trunks of philosophy of law. First one, concepts of law, or epistemology or legal gnoseology. Second one, the fundaments of law, or legal axiology. And finally, third one, ideal sense of law, or legal phenomenology. Here is, by that, the summary of our course. The next point would be read the great. In philosophy of law, you can't lose time with smallness, okay? Besides that, if you waste time with me, understand that you guys are in a more gentle journal of material, more didactic. And only, okay? I don't even have or had 30 years old by the time that I wrote this material, so I know that a comparison of any kind with the works of the greats, it is not possible. Because of that, I recommend a few works. First, Metaphysical Principles of the Doctrine of Law, or in Portuguese, Princípios Metafísicos da Doutrina do Direito, by Immanuel Kant. Not much large, less than 300 pages, and with a little effort, reading will be good for you guys. Okay, I'm sorry for my English. The second one, Science and Technique in Positive Private Law, or Ciência e Técnica em Direito Privado Positivo, in Portuguese, okay, by François Génie, a French guy. This is a denser work with 4 volumes, 4 books, the first of which assumes a more generical character. This book would be rare. Okay, hair. Third one, it would be called Positive Law Science System, or Ciência Positiva do Direito, Sistema de Ciência Positiva do Direito, in Portuguese, by Francisco Cavalcante Pontes de Miranda, in 4 books, 4 volumes. Next one, Lessons in Philosophy of Law, or Lições de Filosofia do Direito, in Portuguese, by Giorgio Del Vecchio, Italian. Very, very didactic and horizontal, okay. Next one, Philosophy of Law, or Filosofia do Direito, in Portuguese, by Gustav Radbruch, German, okay. with huge relevance for panelists or criminal who are interested in criminal law. Okay. Next one, General Theory of Law, or Teoria Geral do Direito in Portuguese, by Jean Dabin. Excellent for those who approach the Thomism. Next one, it would be called Studies in Philosophy of Law, or Estudos de Filosofia do Direito in Portuguese, by Pedro Lessa, a Brazilian studier. Next one, Philosophy of Law, or Filosofia do Direito in Portuguese, by João Arruda, 2 volumes, 2 books. And finally, Philosophy of Law, or Filosofia do Direito in Portuguese, it would be this one here. Let me find it. Just 1 second, please. Where is it? It would be this one in Portuguese, okay? Filosofia do Direito by Miguel Reale. Really, really good, really horizontal and didactic. This list does not exhaust anymore. It is just a suggestion, okay? There are yet a few highly recommended names and works. So let us move, and I will find you in the second, in our second meeting, and see you there, guys. I'm sorry, my English is not that good, but if you can understand, it's okay for me. Okay, goodbye.